Hello and welcome to another wonderful day and another wonderful discussion with Pastor Richgate Akam from Word of Faith Chapel, Bremen. So today we want to talk about the topic of bullying. This has been a very challenging issue in our society today, more especially among Christians. And what is your general perspective of bullying, and what would you say is your experience regarding this topic?
Thank you once again. Bullying is never good, and nobody wants to be bullied. It feels very bad to be bullied. You feel pain and anger, stress, sadness, and you feel emotionally disturbed. When you say someone is bullying or someone is being bullied, it means someone else finds you to be vulnerable and he seeks to harm you or push you down in one way or the other. I say this, that pulling someone down will never help you to reach the top. And so when someone is trying to bully you, it's a very difficult situation that the bully you feel very intimidated inside you, and sometimes you wish to punch or beat the person or react towards it. And bullying can be in two ways, either emotionally or physically. And I personally find bullying to be something that shouldn't be accepted in our society.
Okay, I think let's dive a bit into emotional bullying. What is your idea on this?
Emotional bullying is when the person is not physically bullying you, but bullying you or maltreating you emotionally. When especially you are together with your husband or in marriage, there can be a lot of emotional bullying. And if you're having friends, and even in the school or even in the church, or people close around you can emotionally bully you without bullying you physically. They can use abusive words, their attitudes, their characters can bully you.
I see. And then let's also talk about the physical bullying, especially among our young people. How do you think we should react to this, or what is the way forward in this situation?
With young people, it's a bit difficult because sometimes we can go out with them, so we can see everything that they do outside and what they go through. So unless you are very close to the person, you will never know what they are going through. And we should also try the best that we can to help our children or the young ones, especially in school and wherever they find themselves. We should also begin to see how they react when they see other people. We should be able to also ask them, are they being bullied in the school? What are some of the things they go through in the school? And when we see any sign of bullying from their side, whether they are in school or among their friends, then we as parents need to start taking initiative. Sometimes also it is us, the parents, who are bullying the children.
Okay. Parents even bully their children. If children are supposed to come to their parents when being bullied, when parents are now the perpetrators, where can they go? This is like a really critical thing, and it's very saddening to hear. As a pastor and as a Christian, what would you advise in this situation?
As a pastor, I would advise the first thing that we have to do is that we have to seek for help. You see, many people would go through bullying and will keep it among themselves without telling anyone. But the truth is that the person who is bullying you has a problem. And you who is being bullied, you also have a problem. But the person bullying you has a bigger problem than you do. And when you allow yourself to be bullied, it means that it can destroy your self-esteem, and also it can also destroy the things around you. It begins to shut you up from society and shut you down totally. And so it is very important that we report the situation and also try to avoid the person who is bullying you if it is possible. Even if it's possible, avoid walking with them or going close to where they are, and you try the best that you can, that when they want to bully you, sometimes you have to stand up, not to just keep quiet and look at them in the face, but also stand up to them and also tell them you don't want it. they should stop it, but you don't want it. As Christians, when we are being bullied outside, outside the church, it's a different issues, because the people in the world, they take bullying and handle bullying differently from the way we Christians we handle it. And so these are a few things that I would like to speak about how to handle bullying outside.
Yeah, can you please elaborate more? We are keen to listen to how a Christian should handle bullying that should be different from how the people in the world does.
Okay, now first of all, I have a message to the bullies. The Bible says that the judgment you pronounce on others will be the same judgment that will be pronounced to you. And whatever you wish others to do to you, do it to others also. But we as Christians, the Bible also speaks to us concerning bullying. He said, Matthew 5:10, he said, blessed are those who are persecuted for doing what is right. You see, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The truth is that when you are being bullied because you are a Christian, the Bible says you are blessed. In Matthew chapter 5 verses 11, the Bible says, when you are blessed, when people mock you, they persecute you, and they lie about you, say all sort of evil things against you because you are my followers. And so as Christians, when you are being bullied because you love Christ, because you are a Christian, the Bible says God himself will bless you. Many of us are being bullied because we lead a double life. That one, God will not bless you. But if you live a righteous life in the middle of this evil world, the Bible says that the Lord himself will bless you. You see, we as believers, many people take us for granted, especially when it comes to our style of living, even the way we dress and maintaining moral values in society. It becomes like we become different. Why? Because the Bible says that we are the light of this world. And also because we become the light in the midst of this dark world, people begin to see us differently, and they begin to fight us. So it is normal for Christians to be bullied. That is why from the time of Jesus to the time of Paul, Christians were constantly being persecuted, even unto our time. You know, in our time, being a normal person is more or less like you are strange. For instance, being a virgin at the age of 20 or 30, the world sees you differently. If you don't dress like the way they dress, they see you differently. And when you go to school or you join society, they see you differently. If you are not a lesbian or a bisexual, the society accepts you differently. And if you are, they also accept you differently. So there's bullying, not just in our society, but bullying also happens in the church. And also happens in our homes. Sometimes some of the children are better off than others, and then the ones that are better off begin to bully the ones that are not doing well in life.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Does bullying happen in the house of God?
Yes. Bullying happens in two places. And the first place is when it happens in the house where a person lives, because a home should be where children and family members receive comfort. And so if bullying happens between a man or between children or between families, it becomes uncomfortable for the person who is being bullied to stay in the house. And I'll say a few reasons. Why do some children are being bullied in the house? Because we as parents, we think they are not clever enough, they are not good enough, and they can't do what other children are doing. But we forget that children are talented and gifted in different ways. So one will be good in one thing and the other will be good in the other thing. And so one that is not good in the other thing doesn't mean he's not being good enough. But we shouldn't use their weakness to abuse them and make them feel as if they are not part of the family. Secondly, I'll say it also in the church. You find pastors who are especially head pastors now begin to use their authority that they have against the junior pastors and bully them. You can also find elders or a group of elders that leads the church now begins to use their authority to bully the head pastor, trying to force him to submit to what they want. And you can also find the whole church who are bullying the pastors and the leaders. And you can find individuals in the church who bully one another. The things that are our weaknesses, we as the believers, we begin to use the same thing to bully one another in the house of God, which must be resisted with everything.
So the house of God is supposed to be a place of comfort and a place where people run to. The Bible says that you run to the house of God and you are saved, you are covered. So if the house of God becomes a place of bullying, becomes a place where people don't even feel safe, isn't that very dangerous?
Yes, it is. But this is not the first time such a thing is happening. We can see the case between Saul and David, when Saul was the king and David was anointed also as a king. And Saul used his authority to persecute David. And he followed David so many times. But one thing that David said that is very important is that he will not touch God's anointed. We shouldn't forget that it's not only the pastor who is anointed. Even the children of God are also anointed. So when we are dealing with bullying in the house of God, we should be very careful and be fair enough. Maybe what you are doing, you think it is normal. But if the next person tells you she doesn't like it or it's intimidating the person, then we need to stop it. Maybe it could be in a way that we joke together, we play together in the house of God. But once it is intimidating someone else, it has to be stopped. And we could see it also in the case of Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. As he came on earth, people bullied him. And even onto the cross, he was still bullied. And lastly, we can see in the life of Paul. Paul was a believer, and even the Jews didn't like him. The Pharisees didn't like him. The Sadducees neither didn't like him. And he made mention of it in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23 downwards. He said that he worked very harder than much people, but he was put in prison. He was flogged. He was exposed to death. And they stoned him. He experienced many bad things. So Paul, as a disciple of Jesus Christ, was bullied so much among even his own people.
What would be your final take on this topic, on how Christians should actually deal with this situation, whether it's at home, whether it's at a church, whether it's anywhere else in society, whether it's physical or emotional bullying? How should Christians handle this?
You see, a negative mind will never give you a positive life. And blowing out someone's candle will never make your shine brighter. As a believer, we must always look at bullying as a no-go for us. That people who normally bully people are really people who are facing problems. And so the person bullying you may be going through difficult situation, and the person bullying needs help, even sometimes more than the people they are bullying. And for Jesus told us to love one another and care for one another and have fellowship with one another. And so it doesn't matter who comes to the house of God, we must not bully them. No matter who they are, what they have done in their past, they should be accepted as children of God. And also, when we as Christians, we are going through bullying, or we find ourselves bullying others, we must seek for help. See, we must ask God to help us, and we must also seek counseling. It's important to know that when you are going through bullying, don't forget that God has not forgotten you. He still loves you and He cares about you. And bullying becomes an obstacle in your life that the Lord will use to build you up and also to make you strong. And when you are going through bullying, the worst thing we can do is to respond angrily. Whatever the bully is doing is to make you angry. And so when you get angry, then you yield to what they want. Romans chapter 12 verse 19. My friends, do not try to punish others when they have wronged you, but wait for the Lord to punish them with His anger. When someone is treating you badly, bullying you, saying all sort of things against you, sometimes or every time, it's important that you leave room for God's judgment. Let God handle the situation. And in issues where it is openly that everyone knows it, or it is happening in your life, report it to any authority that is close to you, even in the church or outside the church.
All right. Thank you so very much. It has been a very fruitful and interesting discussion with you, and we look forward to another discussion some other time. Thank you.
Thank you, and God bless you.